welcome to Professional PDF Editing with Revu 21 and Bluebeam Cloud. My name is Juliana and I work in marketing here at MicroCAD, and today's presenter is Julian Niño, our applications engineer. At today's webinar, we will show you a complete overview of the capabilities and discuss what has changed in this powerful tool. Throughout the webinar, you can ask a question at any given point on the left-hand corner. You can ask Julian to revisit a step or ask any questions. This is your time, and we want you to make the most of it. And in the upper left-hand corner, you will find links to our social media and website. Also, please make sure to check our YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars there at the end, so you can share with colleagues or rewatch it on your own time. And without further ado, we'll pass it on to Julian.
Thanks, Juliana, and welcome everyone. As Juliana mentioned, today we are going to cover Revu 21 in Bluebeam Cloud. And our main focus today is going to be why this is going to be your professional PDF editing tool, right? So since last year, we received this new instance of the Revu software. So if you're familiar with Bluebeam and you have been using it for a couple of years, it's not going to be a surprise for you that when it comes to the architecture and engineering industry, now we are moving to a cloud-based type of product and as well as a subscription-based type product, right? But Bluebeam is still the same type of software, right? So our main couple of elements that we are going to continue seeing and using with the software is the option to create PDF using this powerful tool. As well, the markups that we are accustomed to use, they continue with the same proficiency, they continue with the great performance, allowing us to work on drawings, work on basic documents, editing without the need to jump to other editors such as Office documents, Word documents, Excel documents. Everything can be done right here from the software. The organization is better than ever, right? We can continue using our desktop software as well as the new options that we have on the cloud. And if you're familiar with a studio and projects, the collaboration still is the same and is great with these new options that we have on the cloud. So just a quick reminder of all the tools that we have available when it comes to the use of our Bluebeam software. They are going to be just the same with minor improvements to the software and the addition to the cloud option and version, right? So keeping track of documents and comments on a software is still going to be the same with notifications that can be automated for our teammates, customized permissions to protect our documents for those designers, engineers, and architects that has their standard process for design reviews or for quality assurance, quality control. We are going to be able to continue with those same process or even improve them. The filter built-in option is going to allow us to get that data faster, right? So if we are working on a bid or we are working on a delivery, using the filter options is going to be great. Managing projects now is even better with the option to have the elements on the cloud. For those of you who have SharePoint, the integration is right there, is available. Later when we mention the cloud, we are going to be able to see another couple of pretty cool integrations that we have with other third-party cloud-based softwares. Organization and building bits is a great tool that we are going to take advantage of. So most of the time we kind of push the software, or most of our clients come from the engineering and architecture industries, right? But the biggest users that we have right there are going to be those that are on the construction, the contractors, right? Because those guys are the ones that are building the vids, right? Sometimes they do not have access to the Revit or the AutoCAD, so they have the PDF, so they can use this PDF tool to, well, select the items, why not building the bits? And right there, we have a question. Aside from the improvements, are any features are being removed or downgraded? Not really. If you have used a Review 20 or 19 or 18, the intent from the publisher is only upgrading. Nothing has been downgraded yet, right? So the elements that we are seeing right now are only improvements, and most of these elements are moving to the cloud, and the software continue being the same. Alrighty, let's continue. So something else that we have part of the platform and the software itself is the tool for the studio, which, if you're familiar with it, is giving us the option to continue working and collaborate on the cloud, right? So we have the option to have multiple users protecting our documents, and giving us the option to collaborate with people across the world, right? And this built-in option is included on the desktop version. And as well, we have an option with the cloud version as well. So the studio and the projects are still available right there on our desktop app, right? Our desktop element, and as well as the cloud version. And
We have
right
a
there,
question. Sorry. From Mark Rosen. What is the latest Bluebeam app for mobile PDF markup?
alrighty. So when it comes to the mobile apps, so right there we have two versions available. So if you go to, we have two versions, and those are going to be the ones for the iOS application. So they are going to be available for your iPad and your iPhone, and the one for Android, right? So the latest version that you need to look for your Bluebeam when you're looking on your App Store or on your Google Store are going to be, just give me a sec, Bluebeam, are going to be those ones that are named Bluebeam Revu. So those are going to be the latest apps that we have available. So take a look for those ones that says Bluebeam for review, because the ones that says only review are kind of like stand alone, and they do not connect to your cloud products. So those are going to be the latest ones. Alrighty. So moving up right here on the studio and the project. So if you're familiar with those ones, those are continuing improving, and they as well are now having access to the cloud. So why the PDF editing, right? Why is kind of like the standard on the industry? So as I just mentioned, for those that are on the construction and those ones that are working on the design phase, right? At some point, we are going to rely a lot on PDF, right? And PDF is that universal type of file that give us access to all the users, right? So we are going to be able to edit the elements. We are going to be able to share it with multiple companies, multiple people, right? And there are three existing licenses that we are going to have with this new version, which are going to be the basics, the complete, and the core.
Hey, Julie, we have another question. It says, I'm not sure if this was already mentioned, but will you have an offline product or will it be strictly cloud for the new review?
Alrighty, I'm going to mention that on the next slide. So Andrew, just hold on 1 second, and I'll respond your question right away.
Hey, Julie, your
Alrighty.
audio is kind of like grainy. I don't know if maybe you can like unplug it and plug it again. Or
I'm sorry.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me try that.
Okay.
How about that?
That's better.
All right. Okay, yeah, so Andrew, just give me a sec. I'll get to your question in the next slide. So
with the three versions that we have, with the version 21, they are separated into three main versions, right? So we have the basics, we have the core, and we have the complete. Mainly, we are going to have the same set of tools across of them, right? The basics option is going to kind of give us like the basics when it comes to editing your PDF, right? Having access to collaboration in the studio, doing basic measurements, right? And as well, we have a couple of building elements with the exclusion of advanced and specialty markups, right? Measurements and takeoff tools that are going to be a little bit more advanced, and real-time collaboration with Studio. Those are not available with the basics. But as we get to the core version, this is a version that is intended for those in the architecture, engineering, construction industry, right? With building plugins for the Autodesk products, such as Autodesk, such as Revit, Navisworks. We also have built-in integration with SketchUp. So if you're the type of architect that uses SketchUp to create those 3D models, and you need integration for PDF creation, right here is a great tool. And what is great about Bluebeam, we have that option to create PDF. Now, the complete version has a couple of advanced tools, and that's where you get a little bit more into the use of the software, because it gave us the batch setup options. And basically, what a batch means is that we have the opportunity to recreate all the tools, all the commands that we use on a basics and on a core level, but for multiple drawings. So let's say that I need to stamp plus 100 drawings. I'm not going to do that one by one. Otherwise, I will be doing that with my hand, right? So with the complete version, using that batch option is going to be really great. So you can see we have a couple of other tools that are really impressive as well, but the complete or the core version are going to be those ones intended for the AEC industry. Now, getting into a little bit of the question that Andrew mentioned. So basically, we are going to have the product as it is. So that is going to be our Bluebeam Revu, the one that we are accustomed to. So right there, I'm just showing it on my screen. So you're going to have, quote unquote, per se, the offline version. So this is going to be your software, right? It's not changed from the past version, right? So it's going to be the same. We are going to use it on our desktop. We are going to use it on our computer. The only thing that changed with this version is that we are no longer needing to have access to that specific product key and credential, right? So that is going to be our software. The software has not changed. We can use it offline, right? And then we are going to have the option, which is going to be on the cloud. And this one is going to be on a browser base, right? So to have access to the browser, we only need to have access to the internet. So to access, you're going to need your credentials. Basically, that is going to be your email and password. And with the Bluebeam Cloud version, basically, you're going to be able to upload your files, right? Making some markups, making some edits right there on the software on the cloud. So let me go back just a little bit to the major changes that we are going to see right here on our software. So studio sessions and studio projects are the built-in collaboration tool that we have inside the desktop software, right? So studio sessions, think about it as a comparable, it's going to be comparable to a virtual plan room, right? So right there, we can save our files, we can share with our team members, right? We can communicate anything related to markups, to notes, to approvals, right? And all the markup activity is going to be tracked right there. So we also have a chat, a feature in there where we can go ahead and advance our project with our team. So you can go from the design phase to the construction phase, even if you're using this tool for facility management, everything is going to be saved and stored right there on our studio session, which is really good, really awesome. Then we have studio projects. It's as well included in our default software, right? But this tool is really cool because it's really simple and we can manage the system and the elements on the cloud. We can upload the PDF and other file types, invite people to them. We can assign certain permissions, right? And the people who have access to those permissions, I can make sure, okay, you can see that, you can edit it, or no, maybe you can just see it. Maybe you can just edit it, right? And last thing that we are going to have is going to be the Bluebeam Cloud. So Bluebeam Cloud is going to be that suite that is accessible from the web. So you need a browser or from your mobile. And the only thing that you're going to need is internet. So the same solutions that we have right here on the main software are going to apply right here on the cloud. Right now is recently launched. It was kind of like around September last year. There's a bunch of tools that are not there yet, but the Bluebeam team is working on it. And later I'm going to show you kind of like the main aspects between, well, what we have on the desktop and what we have on the cloud. I think we have another question. So Robert asks.
So I think I can get the first one about the presentation summary. Yes, we will be sending the on-demand recording tomorrow, and this will also be uploaded on our YouTube channel, so you can rewatch it later. And then the other question for Julian is, we currently have a subscription to Bluebeam Extreme. Where does this fit there?
Alrighty, so if you're on the Extreme version, so basically the Extreme version is comparable to the complete version. So if you notice, kind of like the tools that we have, they are going to be just the same, right? So you have the advanced markup, you have the batch, right? You have the access to studio and projects. The only thing that you don't have is access to the Bluebeam Cloud and your license to Extreme, right? Or your subscription to Extreme relies on a product key and a serial number. So that's probably going to be Review 20. If you decide to move and make the change to Review 21, this is going to be a subscription base that is paid on an annual basis, right? And you will have access to the same software, right? With the advanced tools for studio sessions, studio projects. And in addition, you are going to have access to Bluebeam Cloud. So in a minute, I'm going to mention what are going to be those advantages to have Bluebeam Cloud. So there we go. So Bluebeam Cloud, as I mentioned, you can have access from your cell phone, from your tablet, from a web browser, right? And in addition to that, this thing is intended, or I have seen the advantage for that type of personal, that type of user that has to be a lot on site, right? So if you're doing punch lists and you need quick access to your drawings, well, you can bring out your cell phone, bring up your drawings, starting with some annotations and punch lists. You can work on some RFIs, submittals, right? And you have all this on the go, right? You do not need an additional installation, but to download the app. So this is going to be great for those users that are on the go, need quick access to the files, right? They need quick access to grab a picture, make an annotation, send it back to the team at the office. So this is going to be really cool on that one. Now, what is going to be new on the software itself? So as I mentioned, so the Review 21 is going to be subscription based, meaning that they are moving from that perpetual type of license, right, to a subscription. So what is going to happen when you launch your software? Basically, right there is going to ask you to sign in with your Bluebeam ID, and that is going to be the email that you have access to. So right here, you can see that I have my email right there on the top, right? And as well, this is going to be related to sign in. So you can possibly have multiple computers with this sign in option at your office, and the only thing that your users are going to need is going to be, well, their credentials. That means that you can also manage who has access to the software and to which version. So let's say, let me go back just a little bit. So let's say that you have a couple of basic license, right? And a couple of core license. So with that, you can assign the correct license to the correct user. So if you're familiar with the Autodesk type of product, where you can give access to AutoCAD for some of your users, access to Revit to some of them, or access to the complete collection to some of them, the management of the license is going to be similar. So you can assign the correct product to the correct user, right? Another cool thing that we are going to see is, if you're familiar with your Revu 20 software, so basically right there, you can create your own set of tool checks, and that is going to be really cool. So let me go right here, quickly type in my credentials. Right here, just keep me sign in. Oh, never mind. Always remember about the caps. That can happen to you guys. There we go. Oh, let me try something right here. That usually happens to me. I forget my credentials, so that is going to be okay. So let me grab this really fast right here. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. And that's why I recommend you to try not that complex credentials and passwords. Alrighty, so the other thing that we are going to have right here is quick access to our tool chest. And this is really good if we are working on a version of Bluebeam, right, where we have a specialty type of markups and tool chests. So what is going to be great about this set of tools is we can potentially export the set of tools, right? And we can have them available to our cloud-based software. So this is as well really cool to have access. So if you are moving between your desktop subscription and then later to your cloud-based tool, you're going to be able to have your toolkits, which is great. And the other thing that we are going to find right here is finally the updated plugins. Because at this point, probably you have been working with AutoCAD and Revit or any other design type software. So right here, let me show you, we now have access to the integration with the 2023 version of the software. And as well, we can continue using the old versions of the software. So right here, as well, you can see integrations with the Office type products. So if you rely a lot on Word documents, Excel documents, and use Bluebeam as your main PDF editor, so you can go back and forward, have access to those guys, and it's going to be a seamless integration. Now, this is when it comes to the software, right? Like the major things. And that ties to the questions that we received. Are there any improvements? And if we have any downgraded, actually no remove or downgrades, only improvements on this version so far. Then what we are going to have is what is new, but with the cloud. So with the cloud, what we are going to see is something like this. So we are going to have the option to access right there on the web browser. And when it comes to the web browser, we are going to have kind of like two main areas. So the first area is going to be kind of like right here is we are going to have a workspace, and that is intended for user base. So right there, I can start uploading drawings. So to give you an example, right there, I'm going to have access to that quick drawing, right? And the other one is going to be the projects. And the projects I can share with multiple people on my team. So right here, you can see the dashboard, the options that I have available. So if I'm in one of my projects, I need to be like really precise when it comes to location. So I can start saying, hey, this is going to be first floor, second floor. And right here, you can see that I have the option to invite users to my project, right? So right now, I'm the admin, but I can start adding a couple of members having access to those elements. So if I'm on site, right, and I'm trying to, well, discuss with someone from the construction team that they need to take care of something that I noticed on site, right there, I can invite them. I can add in as a member, and they can follow up with all the markups, the punch list that I'm creating that RFIs, right? So right here, you can also see we have an option to organize all the files, so elements such as drawings. We can upload any documents, right? We can go to the punch list, right? Create punch list items for our projects. We have the option for RFIs and submittals, right? And as well, we have a couple of settings to add to our project in addition to basic information. Now, if you remember at start, I mentioned our software has an integration with SharePoint. This is what is going to be great about the cloud version. So the cloud version is going to have integrations not only to SharePoint, but with these guys. So for those users that have OneDrive, Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, and Ignite, you're going to have access to your files right here. So if you are worrying that, okay, everything is on this browser, right? So all your information is going to save on your browser. Well, the integration is going to allow us to sync our project data with other apps. So you're going to have quick access to your files using this integration. And now to not make this too large, so let's go to the main feature right here of the cloud. And you're going to notice right now is quite simple, quite basic, but it includes the powerful tools that we are going to use, right? Elements such as the cloud, we are going to be able to use the same type of features that we have on the desktop version. Right there, you can see we also have a couple of easy tools to use. We have a couple of pens, right? We have the text, we have arrows, we have callouts, highlights, and we can add images right here. So if you took a picture from your cell phone, right, and if you go to image and you want to attach it to a certain place right here on your drawing, you can do that, right? Right here at the top right, we have the option to add additional comments to the markups that we add, right? So if we want to add any additional information to any comment that later needs to take care of at our site, you can look at right there. And remember, I mentioned something about the tool chest. So right here, the tool chest, I can bring any additional markup that I have created in my project. As it is right now, the markups that are not available to bring up or they are not supported are the ones that you create kind of with a mixture of a markup and an image. But any other markup that you create is going to be able to have access right here to the cloud. So let me give you an example right here. We have a couple of lists for the engineer review, contractor, architect. So right here, you can kind of have your setup elements. So right here, you can kind of create your sections or specify tools for your project and for your day-to-day markups and annotations on your project. Now,
Hey, sorry, we have a question.
yes.
It says, have you found that the cloud-based version gets laggy with the large document/drawing sets?
Yes, but it gets laggy if I believe the last one that I upload was around 300 pages, and it was quite heavy type of file. So at that point, the navigation is good as long as I'm using my internet connection that is with the Ethernet, right? But if I'm on my cell phone and if I'm using my data, it starts to get laggy, especially if I'm doing a bunch of markups on my drawing, right? As long as I on my office connection with the Ethernet cable is simply is working just fine. But on my cell phone, or if I'm working on my iPad, that is where it can be a little bit laggy, especially with large documents. So the last one that I tried was 300 pages, so that is quite heavy. So right there, I will recommend to kind of split it a little bit. Try to go as far as 50 pages or 100 pages, and right there we can avoid that slow time when opening up the files. And one last thing that I wanted to mention right here on the cloud version, you can see right now it's kind of basic, right? So they are working on the measurement tool. So right now, if you notice, we still do not have the measurement tools. They are working on that. They are making sure that we have the same or even better tools when it comes to measurement that comes from the main software. So that is going to be a work in progress. But as it is right now, is for quick access to the people that is on site, right? For markups going back and forward between the office, the cell phone thing, the web access or the iPad access is great, right? Because sometimes we get to the site, we don't have access to the Wi-Fi of the site, so we can use our cell phone data. So that is going to be really good. And there we go. That's kind of like it when it comes to what's new. Right here at the bottom, I noticed that someone asked if we are going to share the slides, but as well, they are going to be shared as part of our recording. Right there, I leave 2 notes when it comes to what's new and the release notes, and you're going to be able to see any upgrades in the last couple of months for the software. So just to do a recap, the best tools that are going to be still right there at the top with the use of the main software are going to be Design and Seal. Those are great. The other ones are going to be the Compare tool, the Overlay tool, and well, the main software is going to be still included with your purchase, right? So it's not like you're just going to receive the cloud. The cloud right there, it is improving, right? We're still going to have access to the set of tools, and you can move your files from your desktop to the cloud just to go for the site, then go back to your main software. So that is going to be great. And they are going to be third-party software such as the Finish Line software. So stay tuned. At the end, we are going to mention it, and we are going to have an upcoming webinar. So that is going to be really good as well. And just to recap at the end, what we are going to have with this software, and still is part of what we have been using for the last couple of editions of it, is the creation, is going to be the markup, the organization, and the collaborate set of tools. So that is going to be it from me. And if you have any additional questions, let's hear from you guys.
Yeah, and while we hear those, Lee, do you have the webinar slide?
Yep. Oh, there you
go. So we have upcoming next Inventor 2023 user group on January 19 at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then we have on January 26 Finish Line Pro, the markup, design, and engine new project needs. So yeah, make sure to check our website for these, and we'll give it a minute for some questions if any has one. And thank you, Juli, for that wonderful presentation. That was very helpful. Okay, we have a question here. I have tried integrating SharePoint, but I'm not seeing PDF files through it. Do I need a Bluebeam plug applied to SharePoint?
Oh, so right there. try to go to your review and hit administrator. So right here, I do not have SharePoint on my end, but right here, make sure that it should be an option right here that says SharePoint. So mainly, we just need to activate that option to have quick access to the connection. And mainly what you're going to notice is right here to the top left on your file access is that the locations and exploring options for your files are going to be able to bring up and locate those connections from the SharePoint, right? As well, something else that I will recommend is, just give me a sec right here. The Bluebeam in SharePoint settings are going to be located as well on the preference. So you can go right here to review preference. And once you're right here on the preference, on the navigation or the document, what we can change is the file access to the software. So just give me a sec. For review 21, it should be right here, an integration link. So let me give you this thing right here. So you can go to support.bluebeam, right? And as well, we should be able to add the SharePoint extension or the SharePoint add-in if you also wanted to integrate it with Office 365 or mainly just opening up on review. And I think we have another question. Did you cover the GPS functionality in Revu? I recall this is mentioned in the webinar. Oh, already, yeah, the GPS functionality. So basically what it's going to do is right here on the cloud as well. Let me go right here. So on the dashboard is going to be flat, right? So basically the GPS functionality is going to allow us to select the specific location on your project site. So if we upload a drawing, right, with the whole site, we are going to be able to pin those locations and they are going to be tracked as well as a GPS. So if you're familiar with your apps from your cell phone for the maps or the Google Maps, you're going to be able to track the location of your element. And what this thing is going to do is track the location on your site. So right now, as it is going to allow us to pin those locations right here on the cloud and as well on the software, right? But it's not going to be that advanced. Let's say if you move to a level 2, it's not going to be on that third dimension. It's going to pin the location on the level 2, but it's not going to actually recreate that GPS location on the elevation. So something else that we can mention related to the GPS functionality on Bluebeam is that those locations that we upload are going to be able to visualize kind of like on a map. So right now, as it is, it kind of creates a type of like a layer. So we are going to be able to see those map locations right there, similar to a layer. So basically, we can have that additional information from the maps. So right here, you can see like the location of the streets that we have on our project, and they are going to overlap with the drawing that we upload, right? So we have that combination of maps and layers in our project. As well, we are going to have an option kind of like to locate you inside of your drawing. So if you upload your files on a GPA's location level, you can tap in the option to locate you, and it's going to take you right away to that spot on your drawing, right? So what is great about this tool is that this information is not going to be shared with anyone else, right? And is not going to give your information, right? And this is going to be stored on the Bluebeam server. So this is really cool for that user that, let's say, they just have been sent to a project to do a walk around, right? To take some notes, and it's never had been on the project. By having that option turned on the GPS location, right? They are going to be able to navigate the project a little bit more easy, and it's going to be really cool. So you can use this tool right here, and you can see as well, we have the option for location. So if you're that type of person, similar to me, that you're not really familiar with roads or streets, right there, we have quick access to reoriented the drawing, right? So this is a really great tool. This is has built in inside of the cloud version as well. All right. Yep.
Okay, I don't think we have more questions. But yeah, I wanted to remind you all that if you want to learn these topics in detail, you can always take a custom training with Julian or someone else on our team. We also offer group classes online. So yeah, be sure to be checking the MicroCAD website for future webinars. And that concludes our webinar today. Thank you. Thank you everyone for attending. And thank you, Julian.
Thank you, everyone.